Hey there everyone, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have another home decor haul for you all, and I know we've been doing a lot of home decor hauls lately, but I did take advantage of some President's Day sales. So we have a lot of fun things to style, and I'm really excited because this is actually going to be a Magnolia haul. And if you missed it, a couple years ago, I actually went to the silos at Magnolia and I did a full-on shop with me and just kind of shared my experience there in Texas. And I left feeling super inspired, so I'm really excited to have some of the products that I saw in the store in my own home and now being able to style them in my own space. So this video isn't sponsored or anything, I just really like the brand, and I would consider Magnolia a more luxury designer brand, but I do feel like a lot of the items that I was able to source are still very affordable and kind of on par with Target prices, maybe a little bit more expensive, but still very reasonable to get that high-end designer look in your space for a reasonable price. So I hope you all enjoy it, and you all know that I love to give designer tips and tricks as we move through the video, so hopefully you can apply them to your own decorating at home. And everything that can be linked will be linked below in the description box, so if you have a question about anything, check that. They are affiliate links, meaning I get a small commission if you do buy from those links, so just full disclosure. So I hope you all enjoy it, and without further ado, let's get into the haul. Okay, so the first item that I purchased was this gorgeous charcoal vase. Now, this guy was only $40, which I felt like was very reasonable because it looks very similar to those rustic vintage charcoal vases that go for hundreds of dollars. So the fact that this one was under 50 bucks, I thought was very reasonable. I love the subtle lines and the charcoal detail and this little ridge here. It does say that they are handmade, so each one differs a little bit, which I think is really cool. This is also a very versatile size. It can go on a shelf or a bathroom countertop, a coffee table, or it could be a little accent vase to a larger vase. You could pop it on a desk or a countertop. So it's one of those timeless investment pieces that really creates an impact. And actually what I'm going to style in these are these beautiful blackberry stems. Now these guys were a little bit pricey at $16 a stem, so I did only get 2 of them. But what I liked about them was they looked so realistic. If you can see the blueberries on here, they honestly look super real with this little mossy detail and the two-tone color of all these little leaves. And even though I only bought 2, I feel like they really pack a punch and make a statement. They kind of give off that just wildly rustic gathered feel, which I love. It feels like you just went into your backyard and chopped a couple branches off of your blackberry plant and then placed them in a vase. And I love the movement that they have. I love how each stem has a variation in height, so it kind of helps to give a more rounded out feel to the branch. And a little designer tip, when I am styling faux stems or faux flowers, I always like to take the branches and just kind of bend them a little bit at different angles, kind of randomly, just to make it feel a little bit more realistic and give it some shape like it's actually growing. Obviously, if your faux stems are just straight, they don't typically look very realistic because that's not how things grow in nature. They usually bend and twist and just kind of have little divots in the branches. So I always try to do that when styling my faux florals. And what made me only buy 2, number 1 was the price. I wanted to kind of keep it more affordable. And then also in their little photo when they had it styled, they just had a couple, I think it was either 1 or 2 in a basket, and I just felt like that looked very simple yet very elevated and just kind of that casual rustic gathered feel that I personally love. So 2 of these are going to look so beautiful in this black pot, and in my personal opinion it just looks like something straight out of a magazine, but it was actually pretty affordable to achieve this look. And it's one of those that's super versatile. I can move it to all different rooms of my home. I can also use these maybe in the kitchen in a little basket hanging over my stove or in an entryway. So both pieces are super versatile, and I just love the designer look that they helped give to my space. Okay, so something that I really like about the Magnolia brand is that they're very into homemaking and giving you options to make your everyday items that you use in your kitchen to feel a little bit more elevated and aesthetic. So I did purchase this super beautiful paper towel holder, and what I love about this piece is that it gives off a total vintage feel and look. Even though it's new, it's definitely vintage inspired. I love the little details on the top here, and the wood kind of has that old world aged feel to it, which I just love. And it's little everyday items like this that really help to make a difference, because not only are you using them every single day, but it's something that would otherwise kind of be an eyesore, and it's a way to make that feel a little bit more soft and aesthetic. And something that I like to consider when putting things on my countertop is contrast. So we have a very light and bright marble countertop top, and when I'm putting things on top of it, I like them to feel a little bit more warm so they contrast. And this warm wood tone is going to look so beautiful paired with that marble. It helps to add that warmth and contrast in there, which I love. Okay, so this next piece is definitely my favorite of the entire haul, and it is this stunning brass shelf. Now this guy was a little pricey. It was $119, but I felt like it was one of those pieces that really helps to make a statement, and you're really not paying that much more than you would if you went to go get two regular floating shelves. I think this has so much more personality and was really worth the money to me. So I bought this because we have a lot of white walls in our space, and I thought that this rich, warm brown tone would look so pretty contrasted against our wall. Same thing with the warm brass detail on here. I think that really just takes it to the next level and makes this piece feel super custom, even though it's not. I got this piece because it can go so many different places in our home. I could use it in an entryway just as kind of a drop zone and put some hooks on the bottom for keys and things like that. I also thought it'd look really beautiful in a bathroom hung above a toilet, and you could put some things like towels and candles and, you know, Q-tips, some bathroom items in there, and that would really help to elevate a bathroom space to make it feel a lot more spa-like and dressed up. But where I think I'm going to use this is an empty wall in our entryway. We have this really beautiful travertine console that I got at HomeGoods, and the space above it just needs a little bit of something, so I think I'm going to put this there and then just use it to style some of my favorite antiques and decor items to help give a little bit of visual interest to that wall. And the brass detail and the rich wood tone are really going to help to warm up this wall, to help give it some contrast and just a little bit more depth. So it's really going to help to elevate that space and make it feel a lot more cozy and intentional. And again, it looks super custom with this brass detail, even though it's not. So I love the look of this and was totally worth the splurge in my opinion. Okay, so the next piece that I picked up was this stunning kind of cream textured vase. Now this guy was only $28, which I feel like that's even like cheaper than a Target price. It is kind of on the smaller side, which is actually why I gravitated towards it, because I need some more of those smaller accent vases to, you know, pop next to a larger vase to kind of round out a pairing. I also like to use them on nightstands and in bathrooms and in shelf styling. So I don't have a ton of those, so I felt like this was a really pretty one to add to the collection. I love the texture on this. It looks to be very vintage and old world and helps to add a little bit of depth while still being neutral at the same time. I also love the shape of it, just a really simple curved silhouette. I think the shape of this looks very expensive, even though it's not. And then to pair in here, I'm actually going to use some of these beautiful olive stems. Now, I spotted these when I was going through there on our trip a couple years ago, and I thought that they looked super realistic. They were my favorite olive stems that I had ever seen. So they are $14, which is a little pricey. I think you could probably get away with just using two in this vase. I think this is going to look really beautiful in our upstairs living room, popped on a stool, just to help give it that really gorgeous rustic look and help to accessorize the space to give it that old world vintagey feel, which I love. So definitely a great price on this. These are a little pricey at $14, but I will say out of all of the olive stems I own, these are my favorite, so they are worth the investment, especially because I have moved these all over my space. I showed you that I styled these in my olive jar on my kitchen island, and I just love that kind of Mediterranean rustic look that they give off. So definitely some really pretty finds that instantly help to elevate my space. Okay, so the next piece that I found was this really beautiful black pitcher. Now, it kind of has that rustic charcoal finish to it that helps to give it that vintagey old world feel, which you all know I'm absolutely obsessed with. I also loved the shape of this. I felt like it looked very sculptural and kind of archaeological and would just look really beautiful styled on our bookshelves in our bedroom to help add some interesting lines and give it that old world feel and just help to add some contrast to that space, because the shelves are very light and our walls are very light, and I like using anchoring pieces like this to help add some visual interest and just something interesting for the eye to land on. So I don't know if you can tell, but this has a very handmade look to it, which I love so much. I think that helps to add character into your space. The handle has these little line details, which I think are super pretty. So it's just little details like this that help a piece to feel super elevated. And this guy was $64, which I felt like was just kind of in the middle. It's not cheap, but for something this size, I felt like it was kind of reasonable. So anything with this charcoal finish that looks to be very old world typically is very expensive. I've seen lots of large charcoal vases for $150 and up, so I figured $64 for this to get a similar look was actually pretty good. And again, this is such a versatile piece that you can use in so many different ways. This would look really pretty maybe on a Lazy Susan with some stems in it on a dining table. It would look pretty just styled on a shelf or on a console table. And it's one of those pieces that looks great on its own, or you could style stems in it and that would look really beautiful too. And you all know from the very beginning days of starting this channel, I've always talked about narrow mouth vases and how they're really great because you don't have to fill them with a lot of stems. So it ends up being very budget friendly because you could probably just pop 2 stems in here or maybe even 1 stem and it would look really beautiful because you have that narrow mouth and you don't have a ton of space to fill with faux stems. So yeah, I thought that for $64, this was a really beautiful statement piece that helps to add a lot of personality to my space. Okay, so for this next thing, I've talked about in my past trends videos how scallop details are really big right now. And trend or not, I think that they just are a great way to add interest to a space and a fun little detail that's not too over the top or distracting, but it does add a punch of personality. So I was able to get this super cute little ceramic spoon rest. This guy was only $8 and I love the ceramic detail of it, and I think these would make great gifts. You know, you could pop this in a little thrifted basket with some olive oil and cheese and some wooden spoons and things like that. I just think that this is so adorable. I love the little speckled detail of the glaze, and it'll just help to dress up our countertop a little bit while being a practical piece that I can use because I always use spoon rests while I'm cooking. So it's nice that this is also dishwasher safe, so it's easy to clean, no big deal. You just pop it in there and it can get all of that pasta sauce and whatever off. And I think the scallops just make it look so sweet and one of those pieces that can help to dress up your countertop instantly, but it's not expensive and it's one of those practical everyday items that you actually use. Okay, so again, I'm a sucker for those elevated kitchen pieces that really just help to enhance the experience of cooking. So I found this super cute herb stemmer. Now this guy was $14, but I am constantly going out in my backyard and trimming our rosemary bush and using that in recipes. At least twice a week I'm out there getting stuff and using them to season things like potatoes or chicken or whatever. So I figured that this would come in handy and I would get some good use out of it. And also now that the spring is coming and I'm going to be growing some more basil and oregano and things like that, this will be really nice to use to destem my herbs. So essentially you just put your herb stem through one of these holes and then you pull it through and all of the leaves fall into the cup here. So I just thought that this was really cute and would help to elevate my baking experience and my cooking experience a little bit. And so I did see that these have since sold out. So currently they are not in stock anymore, but I will link them below because they do restock typically. So hopefully it won't take too long before they have more. All right, everyone, that about wraps up this home decor haul. I hope you enjoyed seeing these pieces that I sourced and styled. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does help to support the channel. And be sure you're subscribed because I have a lot of fun decorating videos coming out this season. I have a fun DIY coming up. Also, I do have some garden with me videos that you don't want to miss. So it's nice that it's finally getting to be a little bit of warmer weather so we can step out into the backyard patio a little bit. But yeah, make sure your notifications are on so you don't miss those. You also get access to my community page where I post things like sales, restock alerts, and new arrivals. So you're able to get that high-end look in your space for less. So that's just a little benefit of being subscribed as well. You can go check out those pages and those links. But yeah, I just want to thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you have a fabulous week and I will see you in my next one. Bye!